What is matter actually? Matter originates when energy is compressed. In other words, matter is compressed energy. You see that a material particle is full of energy. And solid things like objects, but also the bodies of living things, are composed of millions of particles, which in turn are compressed energy. So matter has a twofold aspect, 1 part particle and 1 part radiation, meaning energy. The radiation has precedence over the particle and thus a decisive influence on structure. All matter, for example even one bacterium, a toxin, a nutritional foodstuff, has its own wavelengths and a frequency pattern of its own. What is the situation with material particles in the body, the cells? They transmit and receive waves with distinct frequency patterns. In other words, communication takes place. This forms the basis for the body's self-regulation. We could also compare this with a modern radio device. Information is exchanged via distinct frequencies. Back to the body. As long as cells are able to communicate with each other unhindered, meaning that the body's self-regulation is therefore intact, that body can be described as being healthy. Let's now imagine that an undesired substance manages to get into the body, for example mercury, a pathogen or pollen. What happens? To understand this, we're going to make a short excursion into hydrological research. Depending on age, the human body consists of 40 to 80% water. Water has the ability to form clusters and store information due to its dipolar properties. Let's take a look at a water molecule. Hydrogen has a weak positive charge, oxygen a weak negative charge. As a result of this dipolar nature, the molecules can combine with one another and form so-called clusters. If, for example, a harmful substance were to now penetrate the body, water clusters would form around that substance. These clusters have a highly differentiated structure depending on the substance. The various frequency patterns and the corresponding information emitted by that harmful substance are stored exactly within the cluster itself. Even when the actual information medium no longer exists, the cluster structure bearing the stamped information can continue to exist and have a disruptive effect on the body. What happens now when this harmful substance transmits a frequency pattern on the same wavelength as those cells? The substance's frequency patterns interfere with communication between the cells. They act as a jamming transmitter. The disruption of the exchange of information leads eventually to cell malfunctions. If that malfunction persists, it displays itself in physical symptoms and changes. In bioresonance therapy, the clusters resonate with the therapy frequency patterns. The interference frequency patterns are diminished, the clusters split apart, toxins are drawn off, and the strain-inducing frequency patterns are dissipated. The cells are able to communicate unhindered again. Self-regulation, and thus the body's powers to heal itself are put back into action once more.